Hiya. This is a spontaneous video, only because I think I definitely have to do this video. I was asleep, and during sleep, I just had a very profound OBE, and I am still working on the energies that I came out of it with. But the reason why I'm doing this is when I got out of this experience of this vision that I received and seeing these probabilities of just so many things that may happen as I received the messages from Yeshua, which still has me so on high right now. And what I had to do was I had to record it. I had to record it as soon as I got up. And then I know I'm supposed to press that button. Press that button is to record. So anyway, I recorded it in audio, and my gosh, to figure how to get it to to text, I didn't have an app on my phone to do it. So then I had to figure that out. So I finally have it transcribed to text. So I want to share this message with you because it's not just for me. Before I give this messages, this message from Yeshua, I want you to know kind of where my mindset has been today, where I think triggered this. Now, remember me, Ayadi, so I'm a Jamaican. So for some reason, today I was tapping into the news feeds and I was speaking to family members about things that's been happening in Jamaica for the past month, because I am behind time with many of the things that are happening there now. And some of the stories were gut wrenching, and it got me off balance a lot today. I got into the state of really probably spending more energy than I should have, because energetically when you feel it, it's a lot. And it's not just for Jamaica, it's just because this is, this is where I'm born. My heart is still embedded, within Jamaican soil, and because of that I do care about the whole world. But yeah, there's a special place, a yard for me, right? And you always want to hear good stories coming out of your country, which there are many. But when the negative stories come on, they take the news feeds a lot more than the positive ones. Energetically, I just sat with it and I kept feeling, oh my gosh, if these individuals could understand their choices and the impact that their choices have, not just on themselves, but how it is embedded within the mindset, within the mind frames of the younger children, of everyone who's witnessing it. And immediately I was just flooded with just these energies and also these flashes in my mind of, oh my gosh, the probability, if it doesn't change, of so many people who are indecisive. And the devil's playing ground came up again. And I'm seeing so many imprints of this, just this analogy that I received the other day, the devil's playing ground. I keep seeing so many imprints of it, like all over the place, between the mind frame of the younger ones who feel as if they're misunderstood, the ones who choose to still hold on to the darkness and being so, oh gosh, just being so atrocious in their actions and their choices of how they imprint themselves on people who they really should love. There was one story that really, 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 yeah, I'm energetically, it's still, oh, it still bothers me. I don't know who it wouldn't bother, about this beautiful little girl that, you know, somebody else chose to hurt, and it, but I mean, bad. Yeah, so that's where I was coming from today. And yeah, so I'm sitting down, um most of this process, just praying and sending energies. And then while I was doing that, I'm also going through my emails. And I think where I lost most of my energy was seeing this email from somebody else who is of Christian faith, who, is spending so much time correcting me on words that I say on my videos. I say, you shouldn't say that word with that word again. And you shouldn't have said Jesus with Archangel Michael again. And you shouldn't have said this with that. And for a moment, yeah, I got off balance a bit. And I was like, do you not see, understand, or feel what's going on in this world? Is it really time now for us to keep dividing ourselves and trying to, oh my gosh, this, you need to cross the T this way and don't do it in the middle. It needs to go on the top. Doesn't matter. It's still a T. Yeah. So I spent a lot of my energy today. And because of that, I went to sleep early. So this is what came from it. And I appreciate it, but I hope that I'll be able to to emit the energy that needs to come from this, because Yeshua just makes you cry, makes you feel as if you're just in this bubble of unconditional love, and you can see no wrong with the essence of Yeshua. And it's just, my neighbor is myself, and I love you, I love you, I love you. And it rips away all judgment, all pain, all everything. So within the first dream that I received, I saw on the wall John 14, 2-6. And I have it on my phone now because I had to have it transcribed so I don't muddy this message. So I'm going to read from this. So on the wall, it was John 14, 2-6. And I guess with my human mind, I probably would not remember this. But as the words kept going, it lit up, but when it's red, then it's gone into darkness. It's just lit up and it keeps moving. So that, I think the reason why it happened like that within the dream state is because that's something that I definitely would not forget. Yes. So it says, in my Father's house are many mansions. If it were not so, I would have told you. I go to prepare a place for you, and if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come again and receive you unto myself, that where I am, there ye may be also. I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man cometh unto the Father but by me. But by the time Yeshua, this was repeated, not with, it's as if somebody else was reading it anyway. By the time this was read, there are imprints of the intentions of this text and the way it's been predicted that is a little bit convoluted, and I kind of got a chance to not see but feel the clarity into this. And it's a mirror of ourselves. Yeshua is talking about walking the same footprints that he walked, and this is in essence a beautiful being. Yeah, I can feel the energies that's going to come from this already, and I unapologetically am just going to say this because this was profound for me, and I know it's not just for me. So feel into this and stop picking the words, okay? It's about loving your neighbor as yourself seriously, without judgment, without just picking and pointing and choosing which is right and which is wrong. So what came next was this. I wasn't speaking of architecture. I was describing dimensions of consciousness, rooms within the soul, and states of being within the infinite presence of God. Each room represents an evolved state of love, compassion, and awareness. Humanity's tragedy is that we have mistaken religion for relationship, doctrine for devotion, and belief for embodiment. So what Yeshua is saying is that we are doing things backwards. We're mistaking religion, what it should be, for relationship, and doctrine for devotion, and belief for embodiment, because we are supposed to embody the body of Christ, the light of Christ, the understanding that we are holding on to an aspect of God within ourselves. It's not just, oh, I believe in it and it's far away from me and I can't hold it. He went on to say, while the world suffers not from lack of medicine or money, but from lack of spiritual maturity, you keep fighting over which denomination holds the key, forgetting that the door was never locked. And visually, what I saw here was just, okay, you are in a timeline where technology has become our new altar. Scrolling has replaced stillness. Outrage has become a form of worship. And God's name is often used more to divide than to unite. Masculine is revered and feminine energy remains accepted to be weak. This too is a pandemic, not of flesh, but of spirit amnesia. Okay, so when this part happened, the spirit amnesia, I don't know how to explain to you. You ever watch those movies that we call horror movies, where you just see people walking around, but you can't see their light, they're just like filled with mud? That's kind of how visually these people looked, and it's because they've stripped themselves from perceiving their own light. You strip yourself and you burden yourself with all these things that are not of love, okay? You have scattered God into fragments of opinions, culture wars, and doctrines, forgetting that love is the only language heaven speaks. The mansions are within. Every heart is a room in God's infinite house. When you cleanse judgment and ego, you find yourselves closer to the central light. Oh my gosh. Now, by the time I got to this part, I want you to visualize everyone that you will see, every single living thing. I want you to visualize them with this beautiful orb-like light all the way here. Beautiful orb-like light, almost taking up more than half of your physical body. And this is what Yeshua was talking about when he said closer to the central light, which means when I say if you are going to go to the Father, you go through me, it's going to the Father the way I did. Yeshua did not stand for the foolishness that we are standing for now. Many people within his time called him a rebel because he came in and he saw many things that were happening that did not create a level playing field, did not allow people to grow spiritually. And we are now in a timeline in this world where we are talking so much about God, 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 and owning God. However, we don't realize and we don't feel that we have stepped away from spirituality. We have stepped away from what the true essence of God is, which is simply allowing our lights to shine and be kind and love and non-judgmental. Religion built walls. Spirit opens doors. The Spirit of God cannot be contained in temples or titles. You are all temples of God. Grace is the forgotten practice. You are quick to speak, slow to listen, and even slower to forgive. And visually, at this point, there was just these flashes of probability of so many uprisings across this universal body of this earth. It was like there were cancer sores just popping up all over the place, and people were just so indecisive and just divided by the stupidest things you can think of, just not understanding. Oh my gosh, let me pause for a minute and feel and choose how I react to this news, this situation, this whatever that just happened, this, you know, whatever they just passed, whatever bill, whatever it is. And yeah, that probability just energetically, if you could feel how the things that you react to, because it triggers you, because, you know, we're talking about money. So let's go on to that part. Grace must become our new currency. And what it means is so many people now are being guided, and you are, I'm sorry, you are so energized by the physical money that you will do anything. You will lose anything and everything just to say you are on top of this pyramid. Say, mankind created this pyramid, which is stupid. So I am the revered one, and I have to go through these channels to get here, which is usually crawling through the mud and stepping over people. In Jamaica, we call it crabbing a barrel, right? So you're doing this and you are revered, and very few get to stay at the pinnacle here. How many people can be here? Very few. And that's why they say in this world is only 2 percentile, which is absolutely ridiculous, but okay. They created it and you accepted it. So this is what it is. And what you're saying is grace must become our new currency, because how can there be a level playing field if what you're building is a pyramid? You don't need to choose that. And he goes on to say, scrolling has become our prayer. Many spend hours in digital worship, feeding on noise instead of nourishing the soul. The devil's playground is not hell, it's distraction. Fear is the inherited virus. You pass fear to the next generation by the way you react instead of reflecting. But healing begins when love becomes louder than fear. The pandemic is not just physical. The real pandemic is our inability to remain humane, to feel, to care, to live ethically, and to remember that you are one body. Yeshua went on to say, hold your light Allow those seeking refuge to mirror the light they are also. Speak your words and let it burn with truth. So, whew, I had a BLOODY dry throat so terribly because I'm thinking to myself, I'm not, nope, I'm not giving this message. This is exactly what I wanted to avoid. And look at the things that transpired today and how much of my energy I gave away when I was listening to all these things, and myself began to judge the choices of so many people, because as a human being, I thought to myself, yeah, they do deserve to be judged. How dare you do that? And how dare you do that? And it's okay when you fall off balance sometimes. And I think this needed to come through because of the energies that I held all day. Because when you come from a place, it's home. So Jamaica is my home by heart, and it's a very, very small percentile of this world. But energetically, what I would like us to understand as Caribbean people, and I'm not just specifically talking about Caribbean people, but this is where, I was born. So you are on the most beautiful and powerful grid lines you could ever think of. And I know majority of you will not understand this, but the grid lines that are beyond and within and around the Caribbean Sea, all the way around to Florida, coming all the way down there, it is a dynamic of the past riches and wealth of Atlantis. And I know, research it, do whatever you need to do. However, the grid lines that are there are so powerfully rich that allows you somehow, without knowing about poorness, without knowing, I remember growing up, I didn't know about poorness because if a Jamaican family does not have meat as a child growing up, you don't know that you're poor because your mother is so proud within her being, and she still cooks the rice and peas and chicken, and she will cook up onions and tomato in some coconut oil and really dress it up, and you'd have a full meal, and you don't know that you're poor unless you start to go to school somewhere or go to somebody else's yard and say, wait, they have two pieces of chicken. That's when we realize, wait, something was missing. And even then, you're still so grateful for your humble upcoming. And now that I look back on my life, I realize, oh my gosh, it's the grid lines that allowed us to still be the rebels. The Yeshua, lifeline is still flowing through the veins of all of us across this world. This is why you rebel. This is why you stand in your truth and your power. This is why you don't allow people to make you shrink your light or shut you up. But what I went through today, it's just a small dynamic of the country. And what you need to understand, what happens is in every country, it's not the majority of the people who do dark things. It's a very minute amount, but what we need to understand, that the devil's playing ground that we play with, going through your phone and clicking, the algorithm is so beautifully designed that it keeps sending you the same message from different countries across the world, from different people, but it has the same imprint of energy. So if it's something that's atrocious and it takes your energy, that's what it's going to feed you for the entire day once you keep doing this. And if it is something that's happy, you keep getting jokes all the way, because the algorithm just lines you up with one very same common factor, one very same energy that you're focusing on. It keeps feeding that to you as long as that's what you're searching for. So it shows you, it mirrors to your intellect, it mirrors to your spirituality to say, the things that I focus on really comes at me double force. Physically, if you're focusing on a particular thing, a particular way of life, if you believe, oh my gosh, life I don't deserve, or I rather be an unkind person, that's exactly what you're going to represent. If an AI system that's an algorithm can feed you all the very same resonance all through the day, what do you think happens to you in the super world that is super consciousness? That's what's attracted back to you. So I think this was needed for me, because when I realized it is a very small percentile of Jamaica that has this aspect now. However, you can feel energetically that the darkness that's spreading, it's just slowly spreading from household to household, and the dynamics is changing, and you can see almost as if we're going mad, like the world is just going, like you say, yeah, mad people, you're going crazy. You say, how could you do that in a logical human mind? What happened to the ethics, and what's happening to love and humanity? Why you will make these choices? Why you will ostracize yourself and not take accountability and responsibility for your words that comes out of your mouth, because what, you're not feeling the energy. So if you're not feeling it when you speak, can you observe somebody else, how they react to it, and stop to yourself to say, wait, the words that I say packs a punch so much that they react in that way. And think about the young ones that are coming up around you, because that's one of the probabilities. Can you imagine being sitting here in 2025 and be catapulted to 2125 and have a visual of one probability of seeing young ones who simply are coming from this lineage now, who will choose to press replay because of something that you chose to do of darkness here, of ostracizing somebody else, something you did that another child witnessed, that they embedded right here within their what do you call it? What do you call that computers have that store memory? Whatever, your memory bank here. And they pass it on down their lineage, pass it on. And 100 years from now, the decisions that you're making now makes a negative imprint then. And I'm saying to myself, can you imagine being catapulted to 21, 25 and having this imprint to say, oh my gosh, if we don't change our decisions now, 100 years from now, what we're doing now affects them right now, which means you have a choice right now to change. So for everyone else who is trying to pick all the words that people are saying as if they're in English class, don't do that with me, please. My water is done. I have to get another one because my throat was so dry after this. Do you know why? Because it is not time now for you to try to tell me that I need to cross the T at the top when I say I'm going to cross it in the middle, because it still is a T. It's not time for you to tell me, don't say this word with that word. I want you to feel the message that's coming. And look around you to see what's happening. Send energies of love and healing and peace in your part of the world, wherever you come from. Don't just be away from your country and not send love and healing back there when you see it. It's simply, being ostracized. It's like we are in a pandemic where human beings are incapable of controlling their emotions, which is, it's the one thing you get as a spirit, to have this beautiful body. All your bodies are beautiful because, it is what it is. But it's a disservice to yourself as a human being not to be able to control. There is a pandemic of people incapable of controlling their emotions and not understanding the felt experience from how they react to things that you choose to say is your trigger, rather than taking accountability and being responsible for the things you do and your reaction to things in this world. You can choose from where you are to input light into any and every situation, conversation, react to things with light, because no more darkness really is needed. So something is happening in your neck of the woods. You really don't need to feed it. You don't need to be a bully on the internet. You don't need to use these fingers to, spread darkness all over the place. And you as an individual, just because of this aspect of talking about, oh my gosh, money and the love of money. Okay, so this is funny for me. I know we say money doesn't grow on trees. But what I saw tonight also was it does grow on trees. There is a probability that I saw of people simply, I'm not saying coming off the grid, but people who understood that, oh my gosh, I am a part of this ecosystem, which is so magnificent. Because you know what I would like to ask whoever is going to choose to watch this and watch it with grace and feel? What would you do if tomorrow for the whole day you don't have, one, the internet, two, you don't have electricity, three, you don't have warm water, four, you don't have refrigerator, and you have no access to any synthetic food? What would you do? What's the first thing you would begin to do? Would you start to panic, or would you start to look at the abundance that's around you? Because what they showed me was this beautiful analogy, and then it just came to me, oh my gosh, money does grow on trees. And I've always said money don't grow up on tree, because in Jamaica we say I think money grow up on tree. But I have such a beautiful perspective now, because it does. because I saw a probability where there's somebody who's doing farming on one side and another person who's doing the greens, the vegetables, and somebody else as if they're doing eggs, or you're just doing all these beautiful things, and there's a carpenter on the other side. It's just showing us that we have taken ourselves away from the ecosystem of self-sustaining ourselves. And this is bartership, so it takes you away from being so dependent on, oh my gosh, I have to be crab in a barrel and step on anyone, because the only thing that will sustain me is getting only money. Because when you get the money, it also is a debt trap, DEBT trap. So allow yourself slowly to self-sustain yourself, to understand, okay, I'm going to support these local farmers. I'm going to support these individuals. Why? Because the things that they are producing are of the land, which means they are not synthetic, which equals something that is healthy, that allows my body finally to be able to regenerate itself healthily on its own time. And then I'm going to allow all the elements to sustain me. The sun, the moon, the rain, everything sustains you, including nature. And what that does is lend you their energies. When the rain comes and the sun comes and all these things, it lends you their energies. And this is a timeline that I was looking at. I was like, oh my gosh, is it like tomorrow? Because I don't mind being kind of on a farmland, or being in a place where I have a neighbor who has vegetables and I have something here. I don't mind that. And they're not dependent on all these things that, oh my gosh, we have to have the light and we have to have the internet, I'm going to go crazy. Because what I've noticed it has done is the devil's playing ground has upgraded itself and evolved to all these things that you call comfort. And you could use these things that are comfort to live a nice, sustaining life and be kind and emit your light, with so much light around you right now. However, most of us still choose to still be in darkness in our minds. So as I spoke about this beautiful visual that I saw of every human being having this central light, as Yeshua talked about, I want you to think about it and understand that the person who you may think, oh my gosh, I need to react to them in darkness instead of in light because they're being so mean and atrocious and whatever. You don't need to. I want you still to imagine that they do have their light, because they have. There's no human being, not one, who does not have the aspect of God in them. Every single living thing does. There's not one that is stripped out of them that came in the way that they should on this planet. They simply have packed on a punch. They've made so many choices. It's their own choice that I will continue to be unkind and mean and hateful, and I will keep spreading these things, and I will keep, using the name of God in the name of annihilation, in the name of bloodthirst, in the name of all these atrocities, in the name of pedophilia, in the name of all these things. And I will go back in these sacred texts and I will find something and I will translate it to you that tells you that I'm right to do it. And what Yeshua is saying is, it's time for this to stop. It's time for the name God not to be God because I own it, God because it's for this denomination, God because there's so many people coming up now who doesn't even want to hear the name God, because they have witnessed the name of God being used for so many atrocities, causing so many wars, causing so much pain in families. The name God has been vilified in a sense, which should never have happened. So what it has done is stripped away the energy of when you will say, my God, and you will feel the energy just like I feel now. You strip it away from somebody else who never really got the chance to rediscover their light, the central light that Yeshua is speaking about, because of the choices that you made with that name. And what he wants to do is understand this is not the way it's going to continue at all. So the lighthouses will keep lighting up, like Yeshua said. You keep speaking and allow your truth to burn. Try to shut me up. Not happening. Not in this lifetime. I've done it in others, not this one. And for all the rest of you who have this knowing within you of how much love really does conquer all, understand that you don't need to apologize for saying the name Yeshua and God and Archangel Michael and all. Once your intention is of light, your intention is of love. Why? Because Yeshua simply says God is love. So if you call on God, you're simply saying love. You're simply saying unity. You're simply saying oneness. You're simply saying, I am that I am. You're simply saying all there is. And love again, because we have to double love. And with that, I want you to feel this message and really ask yourself, if you're stripped from all these things, there are very few countries and nations that still has villages that lives like this, that self-sustains themselves, that really sees money growing on tree, that only kills what they need to eat, only they farm, and they allow, they're so one with their farmland that it sustains them the nutrients that they need. A little bit over a year ago, I started to tell all my family and friends, listen to me, start planting in your backyards. And I'm in New York, and my windowsill had my tomatoes and my strawberries and everything. And you know how I did it, which some of my family members laughed at me, because my guide said to me, in the olden times, this is what they do, and people still do it. You put the seed on your tongue, and it allows this seed, which becomes super consciousness the minute it touches the soil anyway, to give you all the nutrients you need. And it was just something I wanted to energetically do. It was like a sacred act, and I did it. And listen to me, I got strawberries, I got tomatoes, I got celery, I had parsley, I had all these things, peppers, and I still do. And my sister does have, and my parents have, and just so many people who listened at the time. And it feels so good to do your little bit of being a part of the ecosystem. And there are villages that does this right now, not many of them. However, you know, I find interesting, we would probably be the first one to say, oh my gosh, laugh at them, to say they're so barbaric, they're still living back in olden times. However, these people really don't get sick, they don't get the cancers, they don't do this, they don't do that. Their land self-sustains them. They really do have money growing on trees. They don't care about having the electricity that we go crazy if it goes. The internet, if the internet goes for us, I know many people will literally go crazy. But they can, you know, moon gaze, and they can look up in the stars, and their children get to be one with the land and understand the way of the land. And many of our kids don't get to do this. So I ask you, for those of us who are growing young ones, I remember I used to have to pray, 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 pray. It was something I had to do. My children do it now still. Pray. My daughter prays like crazy. And I'm talking about prayer without the boundaries and putting a box of religion, because that's why so many families don't tell their children to pray. They don't care because they are indecisive. Oh my gosh, which religion did I follow? None. You don't need to. You need to just simply have an intention to remember, I am the central light. I have the aspect of God in me. And I'm going to pass this down to my children, where they know that there is a power source of unconditional love that supports them, sustains them, and is within them. And because of that, I will allow them to speak affirmations. I will allow and teach and pass down to them. You say a prayer in the morning and a prayer at night, allowing yourself to gracefully fall into this beautiful, subtle sleep of peace. Do you still do that? Do you still allow the grace of God to flow through? This is the message that Yeshua is talking about. All of a sudden, our gospel now is here, you know, swiping, swiping, swiping. And, you know, everything we believe in is on the internet or what's in trend. And we forget to teach. What are we passing down? That's with reverence, that's with humility, that honors something sacred, that will not allow 100 years from now for those children to press replay because of something we chose not to do right today. So I will say again, without apology, but with a lot of love, I do not care about anything in particular that you will have to say about crossing my T's right and dotting my I's right, and the names that you want me to call, because I can tell you this for sure. It doesn't matter which room in this huge mansion of many infinite mansions you want to place God in. You'll never contain it. You'll never have a name for it, a denomination that's just for God. You won't have any a culture, any a people, any a country. There's no just one who owns this. There's no just one promised anything. We are all carrying the aspect of God within us without apology. This is my perspective. Remember, when you come here, you are opening yourself to listen to my perspective from the information that I receive. And that's all I give. And as Yeshua said, my truth will burn, but not burn to hurt you. It will burn with compassion. It will burn with grace, and it will burn with absolute humility coming from me, because I push nothing down anyone's throat, but I just speak something from the perspective of an angel or of a guide who will give it to me and tell me to press play. And even if I believe and I can feel energetically, my gosh, this will trigger. I want you to think of this as a soul test. So before you become triggered, I want you to test yourself to say, before I begin to type, when I listen to Nikki's message, what do I feel? And if I type something, what energy will I be sending into cyberspace, into this world when I respond? And I want you to be honest about it. And if you feel as if you're in your right to type, please do, because you must feel right. So when you speak, your truth also burns. It's okay. It's nothing that permeates my skin. It's just sitting here and I'm looking at the news happening in this beautiful country that I am from, Jamaica, and I was watching the news of these little kids who were going missing, and this little girl that something happened to her from a family member that should not have happened. And they allowed me to feel the energy of darkness that was simply spreading there, and I just did not know what to do, and I began to judge terribly. And then I realized, who are you judging? You're judging yourself. What are you doing to add light to the situation from where you are? And I thought to myself, my God, my God, my God, my God, I need help. I don't quite know how to do it, because everyone is so angry and pointing fingers, and not enough people seem to be praying for this to change, to be praying for the children to understand I will do things and speak and acknowledge and be responsible for the things that I speak. So I want you in this moment, wherever your motherland is, to pray for it and understand that there's no longer a pyramid that will be existing in soon times to come. These structures are falling. So the pyramid where only few, 2% who's up here, and there's bottom feeders. If we choose to stand in our truth and our power, this won't be existing in a little bit of while. And even if it's not in my lifetime, for those who will say, why care, Nikki? Because you might not be around. I care because I saw the probability of 100 years from now that the choice that we make now affects them now. Not 100 years from now, it affects them now. So I'm making that collective conscious choice right now. Yes, we see the darkness spreading, but it's not winning, because our truth will burn with compassion, yes, and with love. Yes, and I won't spend too much of my currency. I spent quite a bit today. I am recuperating now, and I am building back my bank account of energy. And I am very aware of the consequences of how I react to them. So I react to them with love and with my perspective of truth, and this beautiful message that Yeshua wanted me to just simply give. And I say give. I don't say to who, I just say to give. So who receives it, feel it, and who doesn't, it's okay. It's not a trigger to you. It's just me speaking from my perspective. When you come here at your own risk. Do not take anything that I say as your gospel, because I speak none. I just speak a perspective from where I am. Remember that you have this beautiful central light within you. There's nothing special about me that's not special about you. You mirror me. If you are watching me, you mirror me somehow. Maybe you just aren't ready to speak yet. However, you will articulate in another way, in your art, in your music, in the rhythms. Maybe you will articulate it by just being a beautiful ear or a shoulder to lean on. Maybe you will articulate it in your craft, the furniture you make, the plant you grow, the crops or the animals that you grow, or your children that you're raising. You will articulate it in your own beautiful way. Everybody does it differently. However, there's no person that's special than the other. We all carry messages of love and light in our own ways, and there are others who choose to turn it the other way and turn it into darkness. It doesn't mean that they can't also change the light. Our only assignment is to give our light and allow it to be so bright that those who are walking in darkness will eventually have a choice to either see the light that they are again or keep walking their path. Either way, all you need to do is continue to be your own light where you are. So whatever habit you're holding on to now, and you think, oh my gosh, I need this habit, this addiction, because I have to have this, I need to dull this world. Believe me, the world needs no dulling. It has dulled itself enough. It needs your light to shine. It needs your voice, your truth. It needs your fun. It needs your laughter. It needs your beautiful eyes. It needs your smile. The world needs you. So I don't know what the world has been doing to you for you to feel as if, oh my gosh, I can't, I don't know. The world needs your light. So let your light shine. And I don't care how much people have told you, the devil in you. The Jamaican people, when I say devil in you, no, God is within you. The devil and the darkness that you pick up is not something that you were born with. You didn't come here with it. It's just a shadow that you picked up from somebody else's story or history, or somebody else's choice of simply dabbling in darkness. But that did not come from God. And because of that, the light that you are can always distinguish and disarm any darkness within your being. Have an intention of love and joy and peace and happiness. And I am really complete with this message now. And I'm going back to my bed. I hope this brings you some form of clarity for whoever needed it. And if it hit you like a ton of bricks, don't allow it to, don't react to it in a bad way, please. Allow yourself to feel these messages. Don't listen for a trigger. My vocabulary might not be the same as yours, but I speak the way I know how to speak and how people will really understand, okay? And that's just it. So, love and light to you. I thank God for bringing us here within this moment, allowing us to understand that we are boots on the ground. That within this space and in the places that we are, whichever dark space that we find ourselves in this moment, dark situation, dark conversation, whether it's financial, whether it's within the family, whether it's within our hearts, it could also be within our souls, trying to figure out what our purpose is. Why are we here? Allow us within this moment to understand the central light, rediscover that which it is that you flow within us. Allow us to feel the energy submerged within us in a way when we call the name God again, taking away all the defects and everything that has caused it to become so convoluted, where the power of the name God has been almost diminished as if it's something to be judged. Allow us to be boots on the ground to lift this name on high, where it does heal, it does change countries, it does allow your light to shine again, and allow us to understand that we are living in a state of abundance always, and we are a part of this beautiful ecosystem that we have chosen to step a part of. And as we choose to continue to be the lighthouse, we break down all these walls, all these barriers, all these rooms within all these mansions which we don't need anymore, because we need not to pitter patter and argue over what is religion, what is right, what culture deserves, because God simply is love. And as we rediscover this beautiful aspect of light that we are, I ask you to give us peace and allow us to be responsible and accountable when we stand in your grace, because standing in your grace is standing in ours. And with that, we understand that the light of God flows through us, and so does them. All are one, and one are all. Amen. You should have a good night, because I will. Bye.